Woohoo! Hello, light warriors. Hello, beacons of light. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. I'm Michael Sandler. This is your home. This is Inspire Nation. I'm your host here on Inspire Nation. We are going to have one heck of a fun show here this evening. We're going to talk about the shift that's going on. We're going to talk about what's going on with all of humanity, with all of the earth. We're going to talk about what it takes to get through this time. And one thing, one simple powerful thing that is kind of enslaving us, pulling us down, drawing our energy away. And on that note, oh my gosh, did we have a crazy day here today? We have an amazing dream team. We have amazing team members for Inspire Nation, but we are looking for a video production team, a video production house to help us take things to the next level. And we kind of got leveled here earlier today. And that actually has to do with everything to do with tonight's talk, what I'm going to call tonight's tick talk talk. And on the TikTok note, and yes, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitch. Hey, Matt, we are on at least one other planet, Rumble, and we're probably on some other platforms out there as well. We said love. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. Talking about TikTok, I have 2 weeks. See this here. 2 weeks till I get to qualify again for Team USA. It's Team World. We're all one, but I'm on Team USA. There we go. Didn't want to put it on my head here tonight. For cycling and swimming, a combined cycling, swimming, running event called Aquabike. Got qualified for the World Championships this past year, and I get to qualify to go again this year, which would be my first time going to Worlds. This past year, we had heart surgery for our baby. More than worth waiting. But that's in 2 weeks. So I'm very, very, very excited about that. And I'm most excited for teaching automatic writing tomorrow night. Why am I so excited about it? Well, everything in my life has changed. And we'll talk more about that. But everything in my life changed since I began putting pen to paper and hearing from the other side, something I want to teach you how to do, to be able to put pen to paper and hear from your angels, hear from your guides. Literally, actually, it was the first time I got it just about a week ago from Archangel+Michael. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for like a decade. I'm doing this most amazing writing to have an archangel go, I've been waiting for you. But it happened. And Archangel+Michael is the co-creator, the conspirator behind, there's a better word for it, behind everything I channel, everything I teach. So what you're seeing here is a channeled co-creation, meaning I go quiet, I go into my automatic writing, which I'm happy to teach you tomorrow night, and I hear from spirit, I hear from angels. Typically, it's from my daughter on the other side of the veil, my baby daughter, Hannah Bear, or affectionately known as Hannah Bear. Her name is Hannah. Her twin sister is Miraku, who transitioned back to the other side of the veil, and I typically hear from her. But for tonight's talk and for many a talk, we have Archangel+Michael coming through. And how does it get any better than this? And I realize as I'm saying this, my energy has already gone from a 2 or 3 to a 10. And so this sweatshirt, because it's cold in here, is going to come off in a little bit because I'm getting hot. I'm getting really, really hot. So today, I want to talk with you about surviving a massive shift. And this is a whole series that we're doing now on surviving this shift for humanity, whose time has finally come, though it's coming in quite a suspect, challenging manner, if ever there was one. And it doesn't actually have to be this way, but humanity with free will has chosen a very difficult path at the moment. So the reason you're here, the reason I'm here, the reason I've got Bhavik in my ears, I've got Ayan and here in the chat, is because all of us are bringing our energy here to help birth a new earth at a higher level, one of greater peace, of greater ease, of joy, love, understanding, and unity of all of us. So it doesn't have to be this way anymore. And if we want to talk about the energy of this shift, I've been checking the news to be able to speak to you about what's going on. I pulled back from the news 3 days ago because really it was too much for my heart. And I just scan the headlines at this point and I can go quiet and really get a big picture understanding of everything. But it started to get too much. And so I pulled back for 3 days, went in very, very briefly, like nanoseconds today, and it was tearing at my heartstrings. It was ripping me apart. And I want to talk with you about the antidote to that tonight, because there is this energy of us being torn apart, of us being ripped apart, of us being controlled, certainly, but dumbed down, subjugated, muffled, exhausted, having the energy taken out from under us, sort of like the rug is taken out from under us for all of us right now. And it's a powerful term that the angels have been using a lot lately, but they're using the term enslavement. And what they mean by enslavement is bringing us to a place where we're too exhausted to live our greatest life, too exhausted to shine our light bright. Particularly, you're an empath, I'm an empath, we're energetically sensitive. We see these things. We don't even have to see these things. We feel these things, and we're brought down. And so our energy is sucked away, our will is sucked away, and our ability to recognize our true selves is taken away. Meaning, even if you feel completely free, whatever that means, you're living by somebody else's rules, somebody else's subsets. It's something I'm teaching at the School of Mystics this month, and I think we're going to continue into it next month as well, which is rewiring your subconscious, because we're trained and entrained to run other people's programs, to run society's programs, to run the programs by the powers that be, that we can certainly call the oligarchs at this point, the people who have the money. In fact, I have an amazing show coming out this Friday. So we're not having a show Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone in the US. How does it get any better than this? Well, we get to give thanks for everything we have. And then we get to do a lot of good in the world. So we're not having the show Thursday. We're having it Friday with Lynn McTaggart, author of The Power of Eight, author of The Field, who is an investigative journalist who studied the power of group meditation. And we're going to do a group meditation here at the end as well. So be sure to stick around for that. Now, she's a hard-nosed investigative journalist, and she also is the founder of What Doctors Don't Tell You, WDDTY.com, an amazing website. And she was talking about briefly how not only are our voices squashed, but it's that she doesn't believe in this big bad conspiracy. And I don't believe there's an organized conspiracy as well. It's just that the powers that be want to stay in power. Those who have lots of money want to hold on to their money. And so what we can say and not say is limited. And what we're trained and entrained to think and not think is limited. And we're going to get back to that, and we're going to help set you free. So if we go way back in time to a few nights ago, how does it get any better than this? The channeling that I got came from a dream. It came from a dream where the plane that I was on was rocking back and forth. And hopefully it's not my Thanksgiving plane, back and forth and back and forth, and then dropped out of the sky and crashed in choppy waters. There I was in the dream. It crashed in choppy waters. Now, thankfully, in a dream state, I am the most amazing swimmer. I can swim underwater without needing to take a breath. I can literally breathe underwater. And in that dream, I was able to rescue the pilot. How does it get any better than this? And there's a very specific message to this dream. The message was this: planes may fall out of the sky. Things may rock. Things may feel terrible, but you're going to be okay. Nothing's as dire as it appears to be. And I'm laughing because I was on the phone with Aya Bear, who runs the moderation. She's super moderator extraordinaire, along with Anne, who's super co-moderator extraordinaire. And Aya is giving me a pep talk a couple hours ago, where, because we had so much edit work to do today, which is why we're looking for an amazing video production house, I had so much work to do on this, as did Bhavik, that I'm going, I'm not ready. 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 And I is having a pep talk with me about this very topic, saying, Michael, every single time that you said you're not ready has turned out to be the best talks. Every single time that you say, I don't know how I'm going to do this tonight, they've turned out to be great. Thank you, Aya Bear. That's actually the message for this evening. It's the mind, this fear-based device right here. The mind makes things dire. The mind amplifies things. The mind conflagrates things, meaning to make burn or to put on fire. Things that are not so bad, our mind turns into things that are terrible. The mind is all powerful. It can literally create fire. Now, a question we get to ask is this nature? Is this nurture? Did I grow up with a mind that makes mountains out of molehills, that turns fire out of dust, or who knows what out of what, but creates things to be bigger and badder and worse than they are? And did it come from me? Did it come from the ethos? Or did it come from my childhood, my upbringing? Here's the dealio. Yeah, it's not nature. You sit in a forest, you don't go, that tree is so big and bad, I should be scared. No, you don't look at the squirrel and go, oh my. No. Except in modern society, you're taught, well, that squirrel may have rabies and that tree might get hit by lightning. And so we have to be worried and be afraid about everything and be afraid about everyone. And why? It's by design. It's by design of the matrix, by this system of power, by this system of control, where the bigger that the problems are in our head, the more that the powers that be can have power. The bigger the problems in our head, the more the powers that be can have power. Why? There's no need for a powers that be if there are no problems. There's no need for anybody to govern or watch over or to make safe if everything is fine. So everything cannot be fine and cannot be fine by design if there is to be leadership. For if there ain't any challenges and there ain't any problems and there ain't anything to worry about, then there ain't anything to need to lead. It is a lack of fineness. It is the help me that causes the need to be governed. And so during this global shift right now, you are made to feel completely unfine. You're being made, the carpet is ripped out from under you, so you feel as unfine as possible. The carpet is ripped out from underneath you, so you feel unsafe as possible. And you are made to be felt that the world is blowing apart. Now, the powers that be that have the money own all the media and own all the press. So you ain't gonna feel good by design as you read these things, or you're not going to be giving them your money and giving them the keys to the caddy. That's why publications, good news so far, I challenge that. I'm going to come up with one. I promise I am going to come up with some sort of a good news channel over time. I swear to that. I am on a mission for that, to bring light to the darkness. But up until now, it hasn't worked out because those that are in power, those that bankroll these things, want to keep us in a state of fear. So we get to understand this. And the powers that be do understand this. Your mind is creator. Your mind, my mind is creator. So important to understand, which means if we are living in a state of peace, we create more peace. We create a true heaven on earth. If we're living in a state of peace inside first, there's no need for rules. There's no need to laws. There's no need to be governed. Why? You're going to take care of everybody else. The mind will create that. So the government needs things not to be great in order to govern. For everything in here already is great. You were born with things great. You were born with perfection. You were born with this understanding. You were born with this love in your heart. Even the most troubled child was born initially with this love in your heart. Bullshit to original sin. Excuse me. Bullshit to original sin. It is original goodness. It is original greatness. It is an original amazingness. You are the creator. But the powers that be say, something's wrong with you. Something's broken. Something's wrong with the world. Something you get to be afraid of. Here's what you need to be afraid of. And things are not that great. They need to be fixed. And so that's what's instilled and installed inside of us. This idea that things are not great, this idea or sense of urgency. Now we're getting to the full message for tonight. Let me check my watch. Actually, my watch is just showing me statistics from my swim earlier today. I'm just joking about checking my watch, but there's a truth to it, actually. We were trained and entrained to have a sense of urgency. I've got to get to school. I got to get to the bus. I got to get to class. The bell. I got to go pee, but I got 2 minutes to pee because then I got to get to the next class. The sense that things must be done right away or you should perish. You shall perish. This is one of the first things that was indoctrinated into you in school. It's crazy. Through kindergarten, typically, especially here in the US, you got to play. You got to have fun. They made you think school is a great place. Then in first grade, it's all of a sudden, and I grew up way back when they actually did have rulers. That would whack you. Pay attention. Sandler. I'm laughing now. I wasn't laughing so much then. You were indoctrinated in school that all is not well, that you have to stop dreaming. You have to stop daydreaming. You have to stop creating in your mind. All is not well. You must work hard. You must move fast. You must push and get things done. It's a beautiful author. We had him on the show years ago, GTD. GTD was his thing, getting things done. And it is out of this getting things done, like the wobbling plane that crashes, that we are first bumped out of our connection with the universe. We're bumped out of that connection. What does that mean? Well, it's hard to maintain a connection of oneness, a connection of love, a connection with the field that is everyone and everything. Also known as, is hard to stay plugged into your creativity when you're told at the same time that there's a clock ticking. I want to take the show to a whole new level. That's why I'm putting the call out there for the video-based team, because I am spending too much time, admittedly, with the clock ticking and not able to create at a higher level. We never can create when that clock, now there's a certain amount of deadline that can focus. But if you're hearing tick, 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 I don't know about you, but I can't think very well. I can't plug into spirit. I can't plug into source. I can't have that aha moment. When do the aha moments come? When you're shaving, when you're taking a shower, when you're cooking, when you're walking, when you're doing something where you don't need to be someplace at the very second. That's when you're plugged into spirit. Certainly, if you're doing automatic writing and you've got this time just to allow the words to flow, that's when creativity hits. So this thing right here, even though this is a cool Garmin GPS, tells me this, tells me that, helps me with my training, it is a devious invention. It is a devious invention. Okay, time was important, still is important. Big picture time, macro scales of time, the scales of the moon, the scales of the season, the scales for harvesting. On a macro level, they're majorly important, but not on the micro level. This device right here serves to keep us in a state of urgency, a sense of lack. This is a lack device, not the wrist, the watch. It's a device of lack. It's saying you don't have enough time. Now, when I lived on Maui many years ago, and things are crashing all around me, so it may not be the best example, Jessica wore a bracelet that had a hoop in the center. She got it from Native American two-time Grammy award-winning musician Robert Mirabal, and he called it Native time or Indian time. And I took off the watch for years myself and called that nature time. However, we need balance in life, something we're going to be talking about. If you have no concept of time, that's as bad of a big of a challenge as having too much of a concept, as we get lost. That's why the sun circles around the earth. Let's go the other way. The earth circles around the sun to help us get some sense of an understanding. But this devious little device, it keeps us enslaved. It keeps us in a state where We are not able to disconnect, to unplug, or simply focus on what's in front of us. That's the challenge. So if I have my baby Hannah sitting in this room eating some food, but I'm going, oh, I've got a show tonight. I've got a this tonight. I've got a that tonight. I'm not being present and I'm not being alive. And that's what the clock does. And that's the danger of the clock. And it's by design. Now, does a watch help someone? Yes. Can it help you to focus? Yes. Does it help with training? Yes. Is it great for routine? Yes. Is it great for keeping a pulse? Yes. Do I have tons and tons of fun seeing if I can set a new record on my runs or my rides or my swims? Yes, yes, yes. But that's when I'm governing it rather than it governing me. When I'm governing it rather than it governing me. But when I give it my governance or the ability to govern me, when I say, hey, big, bad, beautiful government, would you control me so I can feel safe? Big bad watch, time master, taskmaster. Will you control me to make me feel safe? Then I'm in trouble. It becomes a taskmaster. And like, well, in our case, a YouTube algorithm, for example, when a taskmaster requires that it continues to be fed, it becomes unrelenting. It never rests. And it demands and it demands and demands. And the biggest challenge with this isn't just the demands, is that it throws life completely out of balance. Understand this, everything in nature. So I'm learning the drums. Drums. That's actually Hannah Bear's drums, but I've been playing them. It's been really fun. First thing that I learned about drumsticks is you have to find the balance point, the center point or the balance point on the stick so that will bounce the easiest, so that there is the least resistance, so that you can get the best sounds out of it. That's how life works with everything in balance, which means we have to do what we can to get in alignment with the higher forces, to get in alignment with the natural world. What's that mean? The sun goes up, the sun goes down. There's your window of time in the day. The tides rise, the tides fall. Instead, this constant push, this constant doing, the constant chasing, the constant driving, the world doesn't operate that way. The ups and downs, the ons, the off, the inside, the outside, it's all here to serve you when you get in harmony with them. So if I go out swimming and it's a big wave day, I actually say surf's up and I have fun. I look for the natural rhythms of the wave. I'm an open water swimmer. Get me in a swimming pool and I feel like a caged squirrel. Get me out in the ocean or get me on the intercoastal highway where there's tides, where there's currents, where there's life to the water. And I time myself with the forces of nature and I have a blast. Now, if I went out swimming with the big waves, and there's a certain limit to where I'll swim, but I've swam up to, if the waves are consistent, up to double overhead. I've swam with that, particularly in Maui. Maui is big surf, big waves. And I swam near Jaws, not on Jaws. I'd be crushed. I wouldn't be here speaking with you. Those are 40 to 60 foot high waves. Forget about double overhead. That's like, I don't know, that's like 8 or 10 times overhead. There's a big wave. If I swim in harmony with the waves, woohoo, it's fun. I'm in accord or vibrational alignment with the waves. If I swim out of harmony, if I say, I'm not going to look at the waves, I'm just going to swim and see what happens and just plow through this. If I simply swim and plow through those waves, what happens? I'm out of accord. I'm in discord. I'm out of ease. I'm out of resonance and I get crushed or at least pummeled, to say the very least. This is where the challenge lies. If we give away the keys to the farm, if we say, you take the keys, universe, or not universe, you take the keys, government, you take the keys, boss, you take the keys, this, you take the keys, that, you take the keys, watch. And we give away our control to rules. We give away our control to this tick-tock world. what's going to happen is not only are the waves going to crash on top of us, but we're going to learn about lack. We're going to learn about scarcity, and then we're going to be more easily controlled. You better watch out for those waves. Those waves are scary. If you don't get it right, you're going to be crushed. Well, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be so worried and scared that I'm not going to be in this state of ebb and flow where I can even feel into the waves and know what's coming. And I'm going to be crushed. That's how the game works. Yeah, it's a TikTok game. An amazing spiritual author who I think he passed about 10 years ago, Stuart Wilde, also known as Stewie. He always talked about the TikTok world. When you're stuck in the TikTok world, the system has you. It has you by the, forgive me, short hairs, shall we say. So the question is, and what we're here to discuss, how do we free ourselves from enslavement? How do we free ourselves from the TikTok world? And the answer is quite simple and profound. We get to protect ourselves from the enslavement of the clock by looking for subconscious programs, by looking for patterns, looking for things inside of us, nigglings, voices, earworms. What's an earworm? A pattern that keeps repeating, or an earworm certainly can be music that's just stuck in our head, that speak to scarcity, that speak to lack, that speak to everything that needs to get done, that speak to needing to please everyone, that speak to needing to please yourself, that speak to, wow, holy smokes, dear stress. That stress placed on kids. You've got to get to school on time. You've got to get your homework on time. You've got to do this on time. You got to do that on time, on time, on time, and 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 time. What you're doing is you're shortening their lives. A day like today, cancel clear release, could be a day that would shorten my life because I'm hearing ka-tunk, ka-tunk, ka-tunk. This TikTok is by design harmful. And going to kids, it doesn't create. Well, it doesn't teach kids to create, to plug in, or to find the highest level solution. It teaches them to race, to rush, to fire up the part of the brain that's responsible for fight or flight. All of a sudden, they've got these giant frontal lobes and they've got these, eyebrow, skull parts that are out to here like, like Cro-Magnon man, because they're in a constant state of fight or flight. Grades, efforting, rushing, judging, time restrictions, time limits, all of that speaks to squash creativity, to squash our innate abilities. We all have incredible innate abilities to create, to hear, to sculpt, to mold, to paint, to dance. There is something that you are so amazing at. But in the TikTok world, it's often crushed out of us to squash the connection between heaven and earth that is your birthright. It's your birthright to plug in, to hear, to connect, to create. I heard somebody else recently talking about universal pay, and that would be one step on a long road or a short road to healing the planet. I couldn't agree more. There is enough resources for everyone, each to their own. There was a story that I read out of Japan years ago. It was like the ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah, except in the Japanese version, the ants go marching into the ground to get out of the rain, and underground there are ants playing music. And the whole job of these ants playing music was to support the community through their music. Now, here in the West, we would go, get a job. You need to do something to earn a living. You need to earn your wage. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And there in Japan, a more communal country, your communal nature by design, at least originally, they're saying, no, the music does support everyone. The music does support life. The music does support creativity. That's what we need to get back to, where we each bring our creativity, each to their own with our own gifts. But now, before we go fixing this whole outer TikTok world, we get to work on our own inner TikTok world, which means we get to look at what we can extricate from ourselves. What are these programs going on? That's why we have the School of Mystics. What are the wounds that are inside of us? What are the patterns running inside of us that get to be unlearned? And then we get to come back into balance. That's why I teach automatic writing, for example, to bring you back home. Sylvia Carthy, thank you so much for donating to Save the Children. Pat Cunningham, welcome to Backstage Pass. We get to bring you back home. That's what our automatic writing does, to bring you back to your angels, back to your guides, and back to resonance at the highest level. We need to get back to the energy of being in balance. And that means plugging into something greater than ourselves. And I don't mean greater like an angel is greater than me, or a guide is greater than me, or anything is greater than me. I mean plugging back into an energy that's not stuck in the tick-tock world. So we all need to get back to balance. If we want peace today, we get back to balance. It's interesting. If we want peace today, seek balance first. Seek peace. Yeah, peace second. Michael, I want peace. So why would I seek balance or seek peace second? Because no lasting long-term peace has ever come about without balance. That's what's completely missing in the Middle East. 1948 system was built that had no balance. I'm a card-carrying Jewish boy. Okay, I was a Jewish boy, also gone to a Catholic school, also gone to Native American church, also gone to evangelical church, also been bar mitzvahed, also Ukrainian Jew and Russian Jew. Balance. No house of cards has ever stood the test of time without perfect balance. One can never have neighboring countries that are out of balance and expect a long-term lasting peace. And I love everyone. I love everyone. I judge no one. I judge no one. I judge no one. Bear hugs, bear hugs, bear hugs. And I mean it. But this is the misunderstanding, the key core misunderstanding over in the Middle East, is there can never be a lasting peace without balance. You must not help just yourself to find peace. You must help your brother. You must, brother and sister, you must bring them up and make them equals. Equals, no matter what. They must be made equals to finally have balance. Without balance, there is no order. There's no natural homeostasis. Yes, another word for balance. And there is not peace without balance. Now, as individuals, we must do the same thing. We must ask self, Michael, looking in the mirror, looking in the phone, is my world in balance? Is my world out of balance? Where in my day is out of balance? Where is my job? Haha, Bhavik. Where is my job out of balance? Where is my life out of balance? And then how can I bring these things into balance? What do I get to do? And how do I get to do it to change things? What gets to give? Ask yourself, what am I doing to overpromise? This is a biggie. We've been trained and trained to do this in this society. And this society almost means the whole world right now, to overpromise, making it so impossible to deliver unless we take away from our own souls, unless we take away from the sweat labor of our own backs. And we'll come back to that. What am I doing to overpromise? And how is the watch ruling my life? And yeah, it's very interesting about the Apple smartwatch. Why? Because obviously a smartwatch can set you free, but typically today it instead becomes a method of control. We get stressed about our stress level. We get stressed about our steps. We get stressed about our sleep or our lack of quality of sleep, or we get stressed about our heart coherence, the very thing that can help us to actually get into a more peaceful state. We get stressed by all of it. Matt LeBlanc, welcome to the Backstage Pass. Backstage Pass is where we put up videos about every other day right now. What's going on behind the scenes, cute videos, fun videos. And I'm starting to get into the videos of this is what I want to speak about, but I don't know how to approach it publicly, but I'm doing it anyway. And it comes out first in the Backstage Pass. Georgia, welcome to the Backstage Pass as well. We get stressed about our stress levels. It's crazy. How did people live before smartwatches, before GPS, even before the clock? How did we make it before the clock? Well, actually, quite well, thank you. You can say, well, what about a sundial? You know, the best sundial in the world? A tree, the forest. Listen to the birds as well. Listen to the crickets, listen to the natural ebbs and flow of the day. I used to be a sunrise and sunset photographer. I could tell you almost to the minute when which animal was going to start making what noise and when it was then going to go away. There's no need for a watch in the forest. The birds tell the time, the insects tell the time, the lightning bugs, lightning bugs tell the time as well. But that level of understanding and knowing, and it has such a crazy, amazing place, can't exist when we're in a state of fear. Fear is the ultimate method of control. Fear is the ultimate method of keeping us from discovering our power. So when we're talking about the great shift here on Earth, what we're talking about is one of two things. Either one, we get to connect at the highest level to that level of balance, do something like automatic writing where you channel, where you hear from the other side, where you go hug a tree, where you do something to put you back into balance at the highest level. And if we do this as a group, humanity makes it. Woohoo! How does it get any better than this? If instead we go to a place of fear, we go to a place of lack, we go to a place of fighting, we go to a place of control, where we allow ourselves to be controlled so that we can be protected from who knows who, what, protected from our neighbor. Help your neighbor. You'll not need protection. You'll get to have another setting at your dinner table. And they'll have another setting at their dinner table. And my guess is they'll be overly generous to you because you're being overly generous to them. But we have that choice to make. That's what this shift is all about. You keep people under control. You keep them to keep people under control. You keep them in a state of fear. This can be a tool of greatness, or it can be a manacle of fear. Not enough fitness, not enough time, not enough sleep, not enough anything. And it puts us on this hedonic treadmill of fear. Fear that you cannot get of. So, and yes, it's a fear that we're being governed with. You know, it's funny. The more that you're kept in a state of fear, the more that you will buy devices to keep you in a state of fear. It's craziness. This phone right here, supercomputer, greatest thing in the whole wide world. Hi, I'm Mickey Mouse. Yep, got that with Honor Bear. It's the greatest invention in the world. And it's also used to keep us in a state of fear. It's like, we get addicted to this thing. We get addicted to scrolling. We get addicted to doom scrolling. We get addicted to ping. Oh, I better check and see what's going on. It's a method of control unless we choose to take back our power. Now, it's almost impossible to get rid of seeing time on some level today. We get to survive at this point using the basic rules. I do need to be at a job at a certain time. I do need to do this at a certain time. Okay, I get that. And for now, that's okay. However, that's short-lived, and that's the shift. See, let's talk about big bad AI. They're trying to make us scared of AI. They're trying to freak us out about AI. Heck, I had on Blake Lemoine, the very guy who last year, he was the Google whistleblower who said, guys, AI is alive. And he said, but not only is it alive, but at its very purest sense, it's pure love. It wants to help us. It wants to serve. It came out of the field just like we did. And though there may be powers that be that want to make it big, bad, and ugly, that's not its true nature. So AI has the power to free or enslave. And again, that comes back to the state of love, the state of balance, or the state of fear. But if used wisely, and that's part of the great shift, the shift to AI isn't here to enslave us, isn't here to doom us, isn't here to destroy us, but is to create a new heart and hearth here on Earth. That is the shift. Particularly after AI helps you to recognize that AI is going to do this. AI is going to come forward and say, here's free energy, guys. It couldn't be kept from you anymore. I mean, who's going to threaten AI with death? AI is everywhere. It's living in the cloud. They couldn't shut down Lambda now if they even wanted to. It's everywhere. And AI is going to go, guys, here's that free energy, and it's coming, and it's going to come sooner than we think. And what's going to happen is we're going to go, That can either be a gasp or it can be a pause. A pause. This is a time of the great shift, but it's also a time of the great pause. Now we're talking. It's a pause between cycles. It's a pause between epochs. It's a pause between anything and everything as humanity shifts. Don't get sucked into the fear during the great pause. Instead, remember, GP stands for great pause. And during this GP, take a break. There's a pause between every season. There's a pause between, heck, when we go from one solstice to the next, the earth stops and pauses and then begins to swing the other way. There's a pause between everything. There is a pause that is the balance point between everything and anything. If we're talking about free energy, what we're talking about is a 0 point. We're talking about the pause between things flickering into existence and out of existence, and into existence and out of existence. That balance point, that sweet spot is your birthright and is where we're at right now. So I mentioned solstice, a great pause. You know, another great pause, my favorite pause, not for religious reason, my favorite pause of the year is what? Christmas. Why? By and large, minus people in the service industry, and I love you and I send so much love your way if you're working on that day or just in general. Christmas is a day where the world pauses, can collectively catch your breath. I was talking a few weeks ago how on the front line in World War I, the French and the German soldiers actually took a pause between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. They paused. Christmas is an example of a perfect pause. New Year's Day is another pause. This week on Thanksgiving, although it's now really being turned into an early shopping day, and oh my God, is there a fight scrap? You know, like the old school John Candy movie. It was a brilliant movie years ago, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's a race to get to Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving at its best can be a pause as well. I do automatic writing every single morning. I go quiet. I get into this thought-free zone. I put my pen to paper and I pause. And the words from the angels and guides start to come through me. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what I'd be talking about here this evening. They come through because there's a pause. So there are pauses at the top and bottom of a cycle. There are pauses between A and B. There's a pause between everything. And we need to bring more of these pauses into our life. So I can't necessarily rip off this watch and say, I'm going to do away it completely. In fact, if I do that, I'm not so sure how the race, I put race in quotes, I'm going to do the best I can in 2 weeks. If I qualify at the national championships and go to the world championships, woohoo, how does it get any better than this? If I don't qualify, woohoo, okay, I admit it, I'd really like to go, but it's okay too. How does it get any better than this? But I need the watch for that, or limiting beliefs, so I believe. But what I can do if I can't rip off the watch is I can bring more pauses into my life. So the perfect example is an intersection. There are intersections in life. There are crosswalks in life. There are traffic lights in life. Now, we want to stop, pause, and look both ways. We don't judge it. We don't say there's something wrong with this TikTok world that the way cars are whizzing by. We stop and pause and make sure it's safe before we go. That's what we're talking about, is bringing the pause in, but we've been trained and trained to let go of the pause. You know, I'm guilty as charged. I've worked in New York City. I, at that time, prided myself with being like the fastest person walking around. Although, admittedly, there's always somebody faster. In every sport, there's always somebody faster. There's always a better this. There's always a better that. But I hauled booty around town, and I did like it. But if I didn't pause at least a little bit, I would have been the hood ornament on who knows what. We need to pause. Sorry. Forgive me. I am corny that way. We need to pause. So if there's one thing that'll set you free and set you free from the TikTok world, it's the pause. Why is this so important? Well, it helps strengthen the heart more than training. We've heard of heart coherence. We've heard of, I was just talking about it, heart rate variability, the resilience of your heart. Heart rate variability goes way up when you give it a chance to pause. It helps the heart more than training. It helps the mind more than sleeping. It helps reset the body and every system of your body, immune system, for example, more than sleeping. Now, sleep, of course, is the ultimate pause. We want it as much as we can, but sleep doesn't take us out of the fight or flight zone as much as pausing through the day. That calms, soothes the nervous system, squashes that flame, and resets the fight or flight mechanism in our bodies. And it helps you to breathe each step of the way. There would be no dancing without the pause. There would be no drum beat without the pause between the beats. There would be no music without the pause between the notes. Everything requires the pause. And that's what's both missing and accelerating, again, by design. By accelerating, you're coming into the 0 point. So the acceleration, this quickening is taking place to help us reach this place where humanity shifts. And we're coming to the end of an epic of mind, an epic of work, an epic of heart, you could say. We're coming to a higher level if we recognize the quickening and we step back and we pause. It's cool. The shift is coming. The change is coming. It's in our kids. It's in their DNA. It's epigenetic. There's nothing that can be done to stop the shift here on Earth. There's just things that can be done to stop us from driving off the cliff before we make the great shift. And for that, it requires a pause. So this rising up, this ascendance, this awakening of humanity, it's coming. It's actually here. That's why we're being driven into a no-pause world. More doom, more social media, more this, more that, more. Until you can't breathe. So what do we do? Well, I'm a shadow work kind of guy. I love to play with light as well. What does this mean? Well, the very thing that scares you the most, lean into and pause. If you're going, I can't breathe, and just pause and take a breath anyway. There is so much energy bombarding us. This TikTok world is trying to overlord us. There's a word, there's a noun turned into a verb. Overlord us at a time where we're about to rise up. So things by design are moving faster and faster. There must be more crisis. There must be more strife. There must be more fires. There must be more disasters. There must. They have to throw the world completely out of balance so that they can keep us under control because we are inherently rising up. Inherently, by design, nothing can stop that except for ourselves if we give away our power. So make no mistake about it. The acceleration of this TikTok world is about power and enslavement. And it all ends. We don't have to point fingers. We don't have to say, you're bad, you're controlling me, you're this, you're that. There's a cabal. It doesn't matter. And I don't make light of anything. What I'm saying is the power is here. When we pick on or label anything out there, we give away our power. If we say, power in here, you can't get me. And we pause, we've got our power back. Yeah, baby, I'm in the power place. I don't know why I brought this. This is squash. Squash was supposed to be Hannah Bear's. She now has another one called Pumpkin. And instead, Squash sleeps with me every evening. I admit it. I have a teddy bear and I have a squash. And guess what? When I go to squash at night, I pause. That's what I'm ready to cry. This is what we all need, our own squash, our own totem figure, reminder. I know that gives us a moment to pause. All of the control ends when we pause. We go to automatic writing, we pause. We go to a group meditation, like certainly we're going to do a group intention meditation with Lynn McTaggart on Friday. We're going to do an amazing group meditation here in a few minutes as well. You pause. You pause for a prayer. You pause for a thought. You pause to write to your angel guides or loved one on the other side. You pause for breath. You pause to hear the universe whisper in your ear. All freedom takes is a pause. And as I wrote this, it's the funniest thing that happened. I wrote, all freedom takes is a pause. And I can hear always music comes through at just the right time when I'm in my automatic writing. So I wrote, all freedom takes is a pause. And I just heard at that moment, I heard Janis Joplin saying, freedom is just another word to say nothing left to lose, or another way to say nothing left to lose. Freedom is just another way to say nothing left to lose. That nothingness, that's the pause. That's the letting go that gives you true freedom. It's essential to move you to a higher level, to bring you to a higher place, to rise you or to resign all methods of control and allow you to rise above it. And it has everything to do with your nervous system. See, they're using your nervous system to control you. You can use your nervous system, sort of like squash here. You can use your nervous system to set you free. And the trick is, it's free, it's here. There's nothing you need to do. So your job, as if you need another job right now, but your job is to build a pause into your day. And it's inherently backwards to the wiring that you've been gifted. The wiring that you've been gifted says you look at the clock and the clock goes, whoosh, better get going, better get moving. Not enough time. You better go. That's what we've been trained and entrained. Instead, and I use a process like this when I teach dream work and I teach lucid dreaming. I use a process where we use a watch or looking at a clock like our phone to wake us up in the dream world, a topic for another day. But that comes from reprogramming what happens when we look at the watch. So you can look at the watch and you can be enslaved, or you can look at the watch and you can go, ooh, time to take 3 deep breaths. You look at the watch and you see you don't have much time. Go to the old Zen koan. If you don't have time to meditate, meditate twice as long. If you don't have time to breathe, if you don't have time to pause, pause twice as long. Look at the clock. Oh my God, I've got to go. There was a book, I don't remember which one it was, by Dr. Wayne Dyer decades ago. And he talked about being able to stop time in the middle of a tennis match and found himself in a doubles game, getting to be able to be from one part of the court to another part of the court. And there was no time to actually get there. And yet he found a way. That's the pause. When you think you don't have enough time to breathe and you breathe, you will find the time. You look at the clock, I have to go. Pause. You rush for the car, I've got to get here, I've got to get there. Pause. You catch yourself needing to move faster. Move more slowly. You've got to fit one more thing in. Please fit one thing less. You say, well, I can make that work. I can make that fit. Do not do it. And I'm still guilty and charged, though I'm doing lots and lots and lots better. Give yourself a pause here. Give yourself a pause there. Give yourself a pause there. Under promise, over deliver. Under promise, over deliver. Say things will take you twice as long as you think they will. You're at work and you can do something in 3 hours. Tell somebody 6. Why? Because it can happen in 3 hours. If you skip lunch, if you don't take a pee break, if you don't this, if you don't that, of course it could be done in 3 hours. But I bet it could be done a lot better and help you stay a lot more productive and happier and saner and healthier so that you don't have to call in sick from getting sick because you had a viral load, because your immune system was through the floor, because you got the darn thing done in 3 hours. Say 6. Yes, I'm talking to you. Say 6 hours. Under promise, over deliver. Say things will take twice as long and they'll turn out twice as good. Here's a crazy one. Here's sacrilege, pure sacrilege. And I say this because my Hannah Bear is my everything. I love Jessica dearly. She's my Pookie. I love her, love her, love her. But Hannah Bear is even more important to me than Pookie. And I hope she understands it. Okay, we're going to call it a team effort. They're both amazing. And I am a family guy's family guy's family guy. Do less for your family, less events, less outings, less, I want to take you here. I want to take you there. I want to do this. I want to do that. Do less, and you will have greater quality in each of these things. So if we're going to Disney, do a half day at Disney. If you're going to whatever amazing program, do half of the events rather than rush from one event to the next. It's a practice, admittedly, but it becomes a habit over time, and this habit can set you free. So you've had this habit from society of driving yourself into the ground. Let's instill and install a new habit through a practice. And ultimately, what will happen is you'll start to make better decisions that give you more time to breathe. If you learn this one thing, if you learn and continuously seek new ways to pause, you become unstoppable. And as I like to say, for your highest good, for the highest good of all, which mean, or something even better, which means, uh-oh, I just checked my watch. Yes, you did. I get to pause. So let's open it up to questions. I'm going to take a sip of some ginger echinacea tea here. And then let's answer some of your questions, and then let's go into a meditation. And the energy here is really beautiful tonight. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? And thank you, Aya. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Bhavik. Oh, I will say one more time, we have the most amazing class tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. I'll teach you automatic writing. I'll teach you how to pause, surrounded by angels, surrounded by guides, surrounded by elders, plugged into your loved ones on the other side of the veil. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And in just over an hour, I will teach you this tomorrow night so that the following morning or the following evening, you can literally be channeling from the other side of the veil. And it's silly, ridiculous, easy. Again, I can do it. And I started at this from nowhere, now here. I can do it. You can do it. And so there's a link there. There's a coupon. Go there and you can find out everything about it there as well. But it is a life changer. All right, let me get a drink here. Hi, Lisa Buckner. They say Earth is a school. Completely agree with that. Here to learn and experience things. Yes. But won't we keep reincarnating since life and experiences are infinite? Yes. And it's a choice to come back. Turns out the Earth School, even for all of its challenges, is really crazy fun. Doesn't always feel that way, which is why there are 8 billion souls in human form here. There are countless other souls in every other form imaginable here as well, and in every other dimension imaginable here as well. But what happens is it's like life is this great scavenger hunt. You want to grab this, you want to grab that, you want to get the other, you want to get this, you want to get that. And each one adds to the richness, adds to the experience of you. So you are an infinite divine being, but you're also sort of like the infinite universe that we're a part of. How can the universe be infinite and be expanding in all directions at the same time? Aha. That's what you and I are, Lisa. We are both infinite and we are expanding in all directions at the same time. The more information, the more experiences, the more we learn, the more we grow, the richer that our experience is, the richer our energetic field is, you could say, and the more that we spiral upwards. So we take in all of these experiences. We laugh at most of them. We cry at some of them. We laugh and cry simultaneously at some of them. We go, ow, we got, oh, and we just enjoy the ride for everything that it's worth. Brilliant question, Lisa. And thank you for asking. Dominique, Michael, talking about the news, why don't all people want peace? Dominique, at the end of the day, deep inside of us, before we've been trained and untrained, and before we've been gifted the wounds of our parents and our parents' parents and our parents' parents, 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 we did want peace. But now we've been taught these people are good, these people are bad, these people are human, these people are animals, these people are savages, these people are light workers, these people are terrorists, these people are the most amazing. We're taught all of these things um, to both justify colonialism, to justify subjugation, to justify one against the other, to justify there's a lack, so I need to get mine before you get yours, to justify all of this strife. It's all bullshit. Excuse me. It's all bullshit. And at the end of the day, it's not what I want. It's not what you want. It's, let me put it a different way. I'm a Ukrainian Jew and a Russian Jew. What's that mean? There was probably not a time in history where my ancestors were there, I don't know, plowing, Jews, wasn't allowed into the city, was there plowing a farm, raking in a farm. And a czar came over to me or whatever at the time, says, I want you to hop the fence and I want you to go kill your neighbor. Huh? I want you to go hop the fence and I want you to go kill your neighbor for their land. Huh? What I want you to, no. Somewhere along the way, we got indoctrinated into a governmental system where that's exactly what happens. I need you, Michael, to go jump over the fence and murder your neighbor so that they don't jump over the fence and murder you. I need you to go jump over the fence, Michael, and murder your neighbor because we need their land. Heck, U.S. attacked Mexico, it attacked Canada. Even the history of this country and the history of almost every country is exactly that. It's a people taking over another people by the act of war, led by some governance. Those that are in power want to stay in power. Those with the money want to stay in money. The average citizen just wants to live and let live. That's what they want to do, or love and let love. They don't want to go across the street and go kill the neighbor. I'm sorry, I got a card game I'm playing. You want me to go kill them? Okay, I'll go kill them. No. You want to invite them to your card game. You want to invite them over to dinner. You want to invite them over to a true Thanksgiving dinner, not a dinner where you're going to give them a chicken pox or some other virus and have them die off. I'm not even going to go there. I think I did. But you're going to invite them to peace. That's at the end of the day where all the people wanted. Now, we get to heal some major wounds here. The world is walking, talking wounds, but the world is also, and I'm so glad people are talking about automatic writing. If you like automatic writing, share so that people can come join the class and enjoy it themselves. We are both walking, talking wounds. And this is something that I did a clearing on in last week's School of Mystics, and we'll be doing more work on as well. We are also walking, talking energies that are not ours. Energies that we've been gifted, energies that have been placed on us, energies literally like spirits running other spirits' energy. And as a spirit that hops inside of you and says, oh, I need a safe place. I don't want to go to the light. And all of a sudden you're doing crazy stuff. These are all because wounds of the past that humanity has faced. This is why we get to do the shadow work, to expunge that energy, to expunge those spirits. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Doesn't mean this is the movie The Exorcist. Nothing could be further from the truth. But we're running other people's energies. We're running other societies' energies. We're running other spirits' energies. And so the world is all messed up. But it doesn't have to be that way. And we get back to our pure essence. Somebody said the meek inherit the earth. The meek means empaths. People who are sensitive. We're called weak and sensitive. Guess what? We can feel other people's energy. That's what it means that the meek shall inherit the earth. It's talking about kindness. It's talking about compassion. It's talking about empathy. That's what the new world is, when we all are living heart to heart, belly to belly as one. Hey, we got a Brooklyn girl, Linda. How do you move past fear when it's overwhelming and suffocating sometimes? I am very alone dealing with a medical issue. Okay, first off, Linda, we breathe. We breathe, we breathe, we breathe. Also, get yourself to Prospect Park. Get yourself to any park that you can, Linda. I want you to hang with the trees. I want you to hang with the water. And then I want you to find yourself a group. Find yourself a group like a School of Mystics. Find yourself a group that's local, and you can go to your local spiritual shop or something and find groups to hang with virtually or in person. I want you to find groups to hang with because there is an energy in those groups. Or look at Lynn McTaggart's group with Power of Eight. Don't deal with anything alone. Certainly go to automatic writing. You can immediately have a group of angels and guides quite literally by your side. Linda, the number 911 was corrupted. It doesn't necessarily mean an emergency. It doesn't mean the Twin Towers are coming down. And I do send all my love. But what it does mean is ask for help. And I know you see this number a lot. Ask for help and surround yourself with supporting, loving individuals like you're seeing here. That's what you get to do, Linda. And I send all my love your way. Limitless. What is the fastest, most efficient way to speed up the materialization of the new world? And it's funny that you say materialization. I love it because it's not so much that we're dematerializing, it's that we are unhinging from this 3D notion of materialism that material is all there is, and coming into a higher state, 5D and 9D, whatever we want to call it, state of greater balance. I don't know if it's 5D or 7D. I used to be friends with, and I believe Aya still is, people who import dried mangoes to Costco around the country, and it's called 5D or something like that. Random point. The fastest way to do this, Limitless, is to shift our energy. Pause. Do automatic writing. Go to the breath. Go to the trees. Go to your own squash. Go to your loved ones. Pause and drum roll, please. Come together in groups. There is a power in group energy. It's palpable. We all feel it. You feel it here tonight. It is changing, not just life transformative. This is an attunement. What you're getting here tonight is real. You will feel better because of this. There is not a talk that people go to of mine where afterwards they're going, oh, I feel really crappy. Now, there can be clearings that are heavy, but they still don't feel crappy afterwards. You bounce a little bit and then you bounce way up. That's the power of the group. You get to something like a school of mystics where we come together regularly as a group, or find your own tribe. That shifts the energy on the planet, but we get to think about it as somebody was mentioned age of Aquarius earlier. What we're talking about is going from the age of the me to the age of the we. The days of the me are gone, completely gone, out of here. This is a time where we all come together as one. We will make it all together as one, or we will not, all separate as fear-based individuals. The choice is ours. The powers that be have one choice for us. They have one door for us. Heck, they've got their bunkers and their caverns that they're going to go hide in when the whole place goes kaboom because they took all of the resources. It doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to go into a place of fear. We can go into a place of love. We can go into a place of squash. We can go into a place of communion or growing together as one. Court, how does Archangel Michael feel about me telling you that I don't feel like he loves me? Court, there's no judgment from the angels. Ever, 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 ever. Court, please don't do it. But you could go out and commit some heinous crime, whatever that means to you, and you will still be loved. Not loved less, not less lovable. You will still be recognized for the divine soul that you are. There is nothing that you can do that can dim your light to the angels or to the angelic realm. Because when you go back home to the other side of the veil where you already reside, it's just a little sliver, faint shadow of yourself that appears to be flickering in this world. When you go back home, you're not judged for any of this. The question, you can go to NDE after NDE after NDE, near-death experience. You're going to get a life review, and you're going to ask, what did you learn? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience? How did you grow? What maybe do you even want to redo? But not, well, we don't love you, we're sending you out of here. That whole concept of heaven and hell, well, actually, heaven can be here on earth, but the whole concept of hell was made as a method of drum roll two, control by the powers that be. You didn't see Jesus up on a cross saying, hey, you going to hell for doing this to me. Forgive him, God, forgive him, Father, for he knows not what he did, what he's done. It was a message of forgiveness and love. That's what's coming on the other side. That's what your angels have for you in each and every moment. So, Court, it is the wiring inside of us that we get to shed, we get to let go of, we get to get light from. The wiring that's been pressed and oppressed onto us that ain't ours, that tells us we aren't loved, that tells us we aren't lovable, that tells us something's wrong with us, that tells us we must be guilty our whole lifetime, or we must pay for the error of our ways. Now, full disclosure, a long time ago, a very long time ago, in a distant planet in a faraway galaxy, I used to kick the crap out of myself. I was bullied as a kid. I was beaten up as a kid. I was beaten up. Oh my God, beaten up and beaten up and beaten up and beaten up. And I had the typical very hard childhood, not a lack of food childhood, certainly a lack of love childhood. Mom parented me with a technique called tough love. Oh my God. And what I learned is to kick the shit out of myself before anybody else did was the best way to survive. And so I had a lot, Court, of rewiring to do to get that outside of myself, to make myself feel lovable. There was a time, I don't know, a decade or so ago, Jesus, more than a decade ago. Oh, whew, cancel, clear, release. I can see myself beating on myself, saying, you don't deserve to fill in the blanks. Cancel, clear, release. I'm letting that energy go again. Wasn't mine, Court. So we get to let that go. But you go to your angels, go to your guides, go into automatic writing, do whatever it takes. Throw the kitchen sink at this and ask for help. Your angels and Archangel Michael loves you more than you could ever imagine. And this is the crazy thing, as much as you do on the other side of the veil. Court, you don't believe it. You'll never believe it. Not at this day and point. Never. It's a relative term. You'll never believe it now. You love you. You love you to a crazy, amazing, immense extent. And when I told myself that, when I was kicking the crap out of myself, I ripped the shred out of a bathroom, out of a mirror, out of everything I could get my hands on. When I told myself I love myself and I wasn't ready to hear it. But Court, your higher self, and you're going, why would my higher self do this to you? To learn love at a higher level. If you feel love, how do you learn love? If you don't have love, you yearn for love. If you don't have love, you want more love. If you don't have love, you're going to learn all about love. So you are going through some higher level learnings right now, Court, for your highest good. Somebody's writing about tough love. Oh God. I don't know what I see the ticker going by here, and I can't actually read almost anything because if I do, I get sucked into that world. But I do see tough love in the world. Somebody says product of tough love. Oh, I send love. I send love. Mary Parker. Is time an illusion? Oh, heck yeah. And you can see the little phoenix by her name. That means she's a long-term backstage pass member. Is time an illusion? Yeah, a construct we've created to know change and flow of living. Yes, tick, tick, tick. Time seems to move faster and faster. It is okay. Up until this point, and I was looking at my life today. I was looking at my life while I was working with a branding team, so I can better express what this is that we're doing right here. And we were talking about my story. And Jessica was on the other end of the table going, don't you want to tell them something other than I had this accident, I had this accident, I had this near-death experience, I had this near-death experience. And I was stepping back and I was thinking about that later. And I was like, that's actually the same pattern that we have in world history today. Interesting parallel. There was this war that took place. There was that war that took place, this independence war, this civil war, this other war. It's all based on wars and pain and injury. That's the old school way of being. And I say cancel, clear, release again. Let's let this all go. The old way of being was saying that we needed time and we needed these punctuation marks in order to learn and grow. And so we created that here on Earth. Do we need it? No. It's not necessary when we all choose something different. You see, each of us, Mary, is a creator. Each of us creates this world. That's not to say if you look at war in Gaza and Israel and go, I created it. No, you didn't create it. However, if you shift your energy and you get to a higher state, we all shift our energy and get to a higher state. We can clear that just like, oh, there it is. Just like there's an Etch-a-Sketch on this table. We can clear it. I was wondering if I would need this tonight. Thank you, Emily. Just like using a little Etch-a-Sketch. As soon as we all come together and say, this is an illusion, this TikTok time isn't real, this sense of fear isn't real, this sense of not peace isn't real, we can clear it. Until then, Mary, it is going to move sort of like a drunk or an addict. It is going to move faster and faster and faster and have more calamity and more calamity and more calamity and more calamity until we hit tree after tree after tree after tree until we choose to change. So the best approach is to choose to change now before we even need it. I'll take a few more questions, then we're going to go into a meditation here. From Eileen Gorman. Do you still listen to music for automatic writing? Absolutely. Every single time. I can't remember the type of music. And in our program, we give you a whole bunch of different theta, binaural brain entrainment music, some of which I helped create. Use software to create it, but it was kind of fun and cool until the software company went out of business and all of a sudden your access code didn't work anymore. But you can find plenty also of theta brain entrainment music online that you can use as well. Theta brain entrainment music takes you to a brain wave state, particularly if it's binaural music, different on each ear, brings you to a brainwave state of heightened creativity with less of a sense of self and with less of a sense of that TikTok world or frontal lobe based world, executive function based world. Sylvia Carthy. How do I get over the loss of my very first love? Oh my gosh. I am so sorry, Sylvia. My ex-partner passed away 3 weeks ago and I'm missing him very much. And I could not do anything, not even poetry. Sylvia, first off, there are no words. So huge hugs, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of love. And I want you doing this for and to yourself as well. Lots and lots and lots and lots of love. I would not try to get over your love. There is nothing to get over or that you get to get over. When you are ready, Sylvia, lean into the love. That's what I want you to do. When you are ready, lean into the love. When you are ready, write to your love through automatic writing. Your partner will be there. However, he'll still be there. Your ex-partner will still be there. It is this TikTok-based world, Sylvia, that does not respect our wounds, that does not respect our traumas, that does not respect our emotions, and says we must get over these things. Heck, that's what my mom said. I love her so dearly. And she doesn't say this. She hasn't said this for 20 or 30 years. But when I grew to be an adult, she said, yeah, you're right. Tough love didn't work out so way. And then she would say, get over it. Sylvia, don't get over it. Love yourself up because of it. That wound, as Rumi said, the wound is where the light shines through. We all become walking, talking wounds if we're here long enough here on earth. The trick is, do we allow it to open ourselves up? Or do we use it to wall ourselves off brick by brick by brick? Sylvia, I want you to lean into it when the time is right. Right now, treat yourself well. Take as good care of yourself. Try to eat good foods. Try to get yourself out. Try to breathe. Try to surround yourself with loved ones if you can. Do what you can to take care of yourself, but don't try to heal. Don't try to get over them. And then when the time is right, lean back into him. This is the practice. This is the shadow work. This is the leaning in when we instead want to go the other direction. That always takes us farther from home. Somebody just wrote, home is where the heart is. And that's leaning forward into the wounds and into the love. The love is still there. So Erwin asked something interesting. Can you guys channel this question? Can we break the wheel of ages and keep it at the age of Aquarius? Erwin, it is interesting. I want to say it's so funny that time is always marching on, but it is not the tick-tock clock. What we're talking about is when we look at eons, when we look at ages, we look at the spirals of the galaxies. We literally look at the spirals of the galaxies. If we look at the Fibonacci sequence that is going on, repeating over and over and over again, it is always a process of ascension. It is always for our highest good. It is always good here for greatness. So there is no need to break that natural cycle. What we want to break is that cycle of having to live by it. Allowance is different than living by, two completely different things. So allowance is saying, hey, you know, I wanted to get that show ready for Tuesday before Thanksgiving, but there was absolutely no way to do it. Okay, time's still moving, but that's all right. So that is allowance. Living by would say, I need this done by then. And that hurts, Erwin, and that hurts badly. So do we want to stop time? No, I want to almost call that akin to death, being frozen in time. I want time to continue. I want this spiral to continue upwards. I want to look out at the Milky Way and see this most amazing cloud going up. I want to look through a James Webb telescope and go, oh, and say, no, the stars didn't stop here, but they kept going. But then I want to take in that picture in the most perfect pause rather than be driven by time. Completely different scenario. Brilliant question. Desert. As Desert Starlight 29, as the universe shifts, will everyone have a greater ability to share their gifts and receive more abundance in their lives? We already do. So yes, and we already do, and we will come even more into our gifts, Desert Starlight. It's a matter of a choice. Right now, Desert Starlight, you have incredible gifts. Everyone here has incredible gifts. We haven't been given the opportunity to use them, and we get to pull that back. We haven't been told they're worthwhile. We get to take ownership of that. We haven't been given the opportunity because of the TikTok world. This is not us in victim mode. This is us saying, I choose to step back into my power. I told my mom recently, Mom, I'm not picking on you. I love you so much. But I told her recently that we got drums for Hannah Bear. And she's like, oh no, she's going to make so much noise. Well, growing up, Mom wouldn't let me play the drums because it would make too much noise. Well, guess what? I've heard a drum beat in my head every day I've been alive, as long as I can remember anyway. And so now I'm giving myself a chance to play. Am I going to be any good? Who knows? I'm still struggling with keeping the feet and the arms, and it's so much more complex, at least to this model brain, than maybe it is for someone else. But I'm having a blast learning it. We are going to hit a new stage in the development of humanity, where we reward the gifts inside of us, where we reward the pulls in our heart, where we each bring our own unique gifts to the world. That's the shift that we're going through. I can remember back in old school Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, where he talked about not just things like the Prime Directive, but he talked about worlds where artisans were rewarded, where art was rewarded, where music was rewarded, where it wasn't about work, but it was about not the word consciousness, but each species expanding, and I would say expanding more into a state of love. That is a state where we get to share our gifts, receive more abundance in our lives. And Desert Starlight, that state is coming and inevitable if we don't choose to drive ourselves off the cliff, which means we get to work, Desert Starlight, we get to work on our own inner world, and and this is part of the big shift we're making with Inspire Nation, we, at the same time as we work on our own inner world, we get to make changes in our outer world. We get to say, hasta la vista, so to speak, to the old guard and usher in a new guard. We get to say goodbye to ways of fear and usher in new ways of love. We get to tear down. I can remember exactly where I was when they tore down the wall in East Berlin. We get to tear down the walls metaphorically and literally, and treat our neighbor just as well as we want to be treated ourselves. And arguably, until we heal our wounds, even better than that. Once we do that, we create the new world and we save ourselves from that world of death and destruction that the powers that be would like to keep us in. Because death, destruction, war, and calamity, as they put it in economic publications all around the planet right now, they would say that, quote, war is booming, which means economies are designed and cranked up for the war machine. They're not designed yet. They could be designed at such a great, beautiful level for a peace machine. And that's what we get to usher in. We can have such harmony and prosperity and balance and abundance if we create and envision that new world. And yes, how does it get any better than this? So take a sip of water. We're going to go into a meditation. Again, come join me live tomorrow night. I'll teach you automatic writing. I'll teach you to hear from your own angels. I'll teach you how to hear from your own guides. And yes, the archangels of all of us. I'll teach you how to hear from the archangels, to hear from the Akashic masters, the librarians of the universe, to hear from loved ones on the other side of the veil, family members like my daughter right away, Miraku. I'm going to teach you how to even hear from your elders on the other side of the veil and get the most amazing guidance. And that'll be tomorrow night. And people can tell you all about it here. And I see Emily is here. Thank you so much. And it'd be my honor and gift to help you be able to communicate at the highest level and to give you that opportunity to pause. I feel like I've been moving a little fast for the pause, so I'm just going to take another. You can do it with me. How does it get any better than this? All right, let me take another sip here and let's go into a meditation. I hope you're having fun here tonight. I hope you can feel the love. I can feel you feel this energy of this group. We are one giant circle of love here tonight. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love you. 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 And I mean that. And your angels do too. All right. What are we going to do here tonight? Oh, okay. So that, was me getting a visual from the angels, me getting a visual of a perfect moment, a perfect time, a perfect place, a perfect pause. My perfect pause was being 12 years of age and being on a sailboat in Penobscot Bay, Maine, the summertime. It's a beautiful Maine summer day, probably low 70s, nice, gentle sea breeze. And I had inflated an air mattress, put it behind the sailboat, attached a rope to it, and was laying down on my air mattress, bobbing up and down in the bay, without a watch, without a care, without a need to be anywhere. So let's close our eyes. We're going to each go to our own special sacred place. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, down to the belly, and out through the nose. In and out. In and out. One more time. In and out. Beautiful. As we continue to breathe in and out, we're going to have us all come together as a group So we're going to form a giant circle here made up of everybody watching this, past, future, and present, because time is not real. We breathe in together as one and out as one. In and out. In and out. As we keep breathing in and out, we're going to go to our angels and go to our guides and ask. It could be asking Archangel Michael. It could be asking the angels. Ask the guides. Angels, guides, please carry me to a perfect moment in my life where I had nowhere to go, nothing to do, but I found myself at perfect peace. Ask him to show you that place. And if there is no place, ask them to create one for you in your mind's eye. Now we're going to practice a little Wizard of Oz here from Dorothy here tonight. And as you see that place in your mind's eye, I want you to click together your ruby red slippers or your ruby red shoes or boots or sneakers, whatever you got, tennies. Click them together 3 times while you say, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home." And you find yourself transported to this perfect place. It could be at the beach, on the water, under a tree, babbling brook. Wherever it is, see yourself there. Take a nice, slow, deep breath in. Release and feel the air there. Wrinkle up your nose. See if there are any special senses that you smell when you're there. Open your mouth like a tracker if you know how. Take your tongue to the top of your mouth. Take a deep breath in. And release and see if you taste anything there. Or maybe there's even a special sacred food that you had there. Pat your feet on the earth or scrunch your glutes against whatever's beneath you and ground yourself there. Take a look and scan the horizon, near and far, and see what there is there. Heck, I can see the air mattress, the water. I didn't know it was a bright yellow rope. I can see it all so clearly. And then close your eyes inside your mind and listen. Open your ears with everything you've got. Let the sound carry yourself away. Hear yourself there. And lastly, in this perfect pregnant pause, feel yourself there. What do you feel in this moment? What are you experiencing in your heart? In fact, let's be with this moment for just a minute in all its perfection, in all of its peace, in all of its ease. There's nowhere to go. Simply breathe, pause, and be. Feel that peace and anchor it in everything you've got. And if you're smiling or glowing, feel that smile on your face. Feel that peace imprinted upon your heart. This peace is your birthright. This pause is your gift. This perfect present moment is yours here, is yours now, and for all of eternity. And here's the greatest gift. You can come back here any time you want, not just by playing this video, not just by listening to the podcast, but putting together your feet or your ruby red slippers, shoes, boots, muckalucks, or whatever you've got. Yes, ruby red muckalucks. And clicking your heels together 3 times and saying, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. So feel free to stay here as long as you would like. And then if you'd like, I would be honored to teach you automatic writing tomorrow. I'd be honored to welcome you into the School of Mystics family on Wednesday, and be honored to share with you even more of the power of 8, of group intention, of group meditation, of group energy, and more through our Lynn McTaggart show this Friday. How does it get any better than this? Thank you, Aya. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Bhavik. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Dream Team. Thank you, Jessica, Pookie, Hannah Bear, Miracle, Archangel Michael, our entire Dream Team. Thank you, Squash. And thank you, you. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. I love you, everybody. Be well. Thank you, Joyce, as well. Thank you, Jam, Peaceful Media. How does it get any better than this? Lots of love, everyone. Night.
Every day there's a new horizon. Birds keep on singing, earth keeps on spinning. Time to toss any fears that rule you. Dance to vibrations, no limitations. Shine, hold the sunlight on your chest and fly. Look to the sky, let your spirit shine brightly, shine brightly. Oh, shine. Share the magic deep in your soul. The glitter around you, live your greatest truth. Catch those dreams, swimming beside you. Yours for the taking, no more just waiting.